Handle Your Business, a weekly podcast discussing a little of this and a little of that. Handle Your Business appropriately blends serious topics with fun topics, all in an effort to help you have a good or better life. So join me, your host, Lady Lashley, and some amazing guests every Sunday at 5 p.m. to explore everything from financial management to dealing with relationship challenges. Put it in your calendar every Sunday from 5 p.m. Tune in to Handle Your Business to get you ready for the week ahead. For more details, follow at Lady Lashley TT on Instagram and Facebook. Handle Your Business. Welcome to Handle Your Business with yours truly, Lady Lashley. Today I have with me Nurse Greenidge Ottley, and she is here for us to have a discussion on menopause. All right. This topic is one that several women have asked about, particularly younger women. And we are hoping to, explore some of the information that may not be readily available in the Tobago space, some of the information that us Caribbean women may not always be paying attention to, and hopefully really just have a fruitful discussion around what is a very natural part of the cycle of a woman's life. Thank you very much, Nurse Ottley.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be able to share on this very important topic that is affecting a lot of us and me at this time.
Okay.
Just to give you a bit of information about myself, I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for about 30 years, well, over 30 years. I'm also a midwife and a district health visitor with about 18 years experience. Currently, I'm in charge of, I'm the primary care nurse manager for the Tobago Regional Health Authority. So I manage the staff in the health centers, the nursing staff in the health centers.
All right, that must be quite a role that you have there. Definitely busy and a lot of different dynamics to manage in your day-to-day life.
Yes, it is. But I'm very happy to discuss this topic. I'm very excited as well. I hope I can bring new information to women who are on the podcast, and hope that we're able to share as well.
Yes, thank you so much. First question, I suppose, is What is menopause from the nursing medical perspective? Many of us would just say, okay, at one point, your period's going to disappear. Or maybe if we think about more traditional ways, people hear about menopause before thinking about the period because they associate women who act irrationally as going through menopause. So what's the correct meaning for menopause?
Right. So the best definition that I have seen so far from our text is a natural biological process, and it is the time that marks the end of a woman's menstrual cycle, and it usually starts occurring in the 40s to the 50s. Some persons go a little longer, 53, 54, and then start to experience menopause. Some women don't experience it at all, but the majority within the 40s to the 50s, and is usually diagnosed after having 12 continuous months with no menstrual period.
Okay, now you right off the bat, you have me kind of hooked already. Some women don't experience it at all. What is going on there?
Some women will tell you they just missed the period. They did not have the hot flashes, all the signs and symptoms that goes with menopause. Some women say nothing. They just missed the period and that was it. And for those, I say they're really, really, truly blessed.
Wow.
But they are a minority. Most of us, sometimes we don't recognize it. We mistake the hot flashes for the heat and for what is happening, around us, and not think that the hot flashes may be associated with menopause.
With the menopause. So let's talk about the start of menopause, because I can tell you that I think it was last year, really. I got the shock of my life learning that a woman in her 40s or late 30s can actually start going into menopause. I always thought, I think growing up, I don't know if we read this or somewhere, they said, okay, like 45, your period just going to stop and that's it. And then when I learned, okay, it could happen before that, I started seeing, literature on a whole process, a whole number of years. Take me to the start of menopause.
Right. So let me discuss with you the causes. There are 4 main causes of menopause. The main one, of course, is age. You have naturally declining reproductive hormones that start at age 30. So from the age of 30, your hormones gradually start decreasing. And you have less estrogen and progesterone, and these are the hormones that regulate menstruation and regulate fertility. So usually, you here at age 30, women say they clock ticking loud,
Right.
because of that natural process. Another cause is primary ovarian insufficiency, and is usually caused by genetics or autoimmune disease that occurs around age 40. For these women, they give them the replacement, hormone replacement therapy, and it's mainly at that point to protect the heart, the brain, and the bones, because the withdrawal of the hormone would affect these organs and cause major challenges for women. Another cause could be surgery. Some women, because of ectopic pregnancy, some women because of some underlying challenge, they may have to have surgery, and an oophorectomy is done, and this causes the woman to immediately go into menopause. This person, depending on the age group, would definitely need the hormone replacement therapy. And the last cause is chemotherapy and radiation. This may not be permanent. Once your chemotherapy is completed, you find that the menopause is reversed after time. So those are the main causes. And as I said, it could start from age 30 into 40. I've known persons 55 and still 55, 56 and still having regular menstrual period. So it all depends. And you need to look at your family as well. Ask your mom, ask your sisters, your older sisters, your aunts, because it usually follows the family dynamics or the family pattern.
Oh, okay. So it's really good to know what happened with your mother and grandmother and sisters.
Yes.
So
if you have family who go into menopause early, then it may have a similar effect on you as well.
Okay. Now, what do you feel? You mentioned the hot flashes. And right. I don't know, Tobago, real hot, the Caribbean, real hot. Some of us feeling some kind of heat that maybe we don't know where it's coming from. What do you feel when you start going into menopause for those people who experience symptoms?
Right. So the signs and symptoms. One of the first experience that you're having, that you're going through menopause, would be irregular periods. So you start, you're counting, my period accustomed coming every 28 days, every 30 days, every 21 days. And you realize that some months are skipping. Some people are very happy about it. They realize 2 months past, 3 months past, no period. So that is the beginning of menopause. Then you have sleep disturbances. Now, we know that as you get older, you have disturbances in your sleep patterns, but menopause brings its own challenges. Sometimes you go to bed at 10, at midnight you get up, you can't go back to sleep. The time you're going back to sleep, 5 o'clock in the morning, that is the time you should be up to go to work. And this is a huge challenge for some persons. The sleep disturbance is really, really terrible. But no, that is not a mental problem. It is menopause that is affecting you, is the withdrawal of the hormones. The hot flashes and the chills, as I said before, some people, you wouldn't even associated with menopause. You may think, the place hot, the AC not working, the AC not cold enough, or for the longest while, the AC on 22, 23, and you're okay with it, but today, for some reason, the AC not working again, you have to lower the temperature. So the hot flashes, one of the serious ones that I have heard some persons complain of is increased heart rate and palpitations. This can be very frightening for some persons. And you may go to your doctor, you may have an ECG done, you may have all the different echo, different heart tests done, and everything is normal. I've had a client who told me, nurse, I pack my bags, in the night, and I tell my children, if I get up in the morning and you don't see me, I'm in hospital. It was so severe. She thought that it was her heart literally giving out. Wow. So no, that is menopause. Yes, menopause causes the increased heart rate. You're feeling your heart beating abnormal for no reason. You sit at your desk and you're just feeling the heart beating hard and irregular, right? Now it could be something medical. It can also be menopause as well. The mood swings and the mood changes. Usually if you're a very calm, quiet person, sometimes menopause can trip you up very easily. The slightest thing irritates you. So look out for that. The night sweats as well, anxiety and irritability, difficulty concentrating. When you were younger, you could sit at your desk and do a whole report. You may observe now we're taking you 2 to 3 days just to concentrate to finish the report. Memory loss. I remember this started happening to me some years ago as I started to go through early menopause. Mm. You find that you're forgetting and you're wondering, I wonder if this is really dementia, if this is something that is happening, not realizing that menopause is the culprit for your memory loss. You have a slowing of the metabolism, mainly because of the withdrawal of the hormones or the testing of the hormones. So you tend to put on weight. The vaginal dryness and the reduction in your libido. This is something that women complain of a lot as well. The vagina is a lot drier. It feels warmer. And the decrease, of course, some women may have increased libido, but the majority of women have decreased libido. Thinning hair, usually, you would think two things, but thinning hair, you're thinking, you wonder if the cholesterol is high because that causes thinning hair as well, or is menopause. So look at it, it can be temporary, it can be permanent. So this is a time for you to, for you to have more self-care. You can have dry skin, loss in breast fullness. So you find that the girl's not as puffy as before. And sometimes that gets us real self-conscious.
Yes.
Especially with your partner. Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes you dress and you find that, the cut in the dress, but something wrong. They're not looking as they are accustomed. So all of that are signs and symptoms of menopause. The painful joints that you start having, sometimes you're hearing the joints cracking a lot. So you know that you have to take your supplements at this point. And the easy fatigue and exhaustion, that too is also a sign of menopause. Some other signs as well: short attention span, decreased ability to learn complex tasks. So, sometimes I tell my staff, wait, tell me again, give me that again, give me it slow.
Right. Right.
You have that attention span that you had before. Mm-hmm. You're lost in your vocabulary and language skills. You can't, the word, you want to say something, but a particular word that you want to use is not coming to you as quickly as you would like it to. Mm. You have a loss of older memories, like my husband tell me, you can't remember the story good. I am the historian. It's because of menopause, and it takes longer to do complex tasks. All of that. We just think, menopause is, you're not able to have children anymore, the period has gone, but the hormones really, really affects your system and really affects the brain and the brain function. So that is why you need to really take time and do self-care, especially around the time, that you start to go through menopause, so that you have a successful transition.
Are there medical tests? How can we, if we're experiencing one or some of those signs and symptoms that you highlighted there, right? Yeah. Some people have irregular periods, so they may not be able to track, the period being iffy because it was iffy to begin with, right? Yes. But maybe let's say you get, some bouts of hot flashes, or you got the heart palpitations, or, any of the signs and symptoms. Are there, can we go to a doctor and say, I need to check to see if I'm starting menopause? Is there any way to say, yes, you've entered that stage?
I think they rely mostly on the menstrual history. They rely on the signs and symptoms that you're having at that time. Sometimes they can do hormone levels, but if your period is abnormal, doing hormone levels may be a little challenging. If your period is normal, the menstrual period is normal, definitely the hormone levels would give them an idea, about the stage at which you are in menopause.
Okay.
Forgot to mention one thing, urinary incontinence. So some persons would develop urinary incontinence, and that is because the vagina loses the elasticity. So the Kegel's muscles are not working as they're supposed to. So some women experience that, and most times you get it a laugh or a cough incontinence. So you find that if you laugh hard, you laugh plenty, or you cough, you have a little bit of incontinence.
Right, so and in local parlance, you pee your skin.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wow. I didn't even know that was part of that. Going back a bit to like the early menopause, because those you gave us a good bit of signs and symptoms. Is it perimenopause? What do they call?
Yes,
perimenopause.
So that is a term as well that they use. So that is when you're now starting, so the period may now be irregular, you find the hormones decreasing, you may find the hot flashes. Sometimes you still have the regular period, but the other things are developing in the background. The heart rate increasing, or the memory might be affected, or the dryness in the vagina, or the other signs and symptoms that we talk about, but you're still having regular period, right? As well as the period could be becoming irregular every other month, or the time span is increasing. Instead of 28 days, it could be 30 days, it could be 40 days.
Okay. Yes. So that's a very interesting one there that didn't know about. The hormone test that you're talking about, does that work in the early days, in the perimenopause stage? Like, can you go to your doctor and you say, listen, something is wrong, can we check that? Are you able to get an indication there?
Yes, but usually the hormones are done in relation to the menstrual period. So your hormones will surge and drop throughout the month. So he usually would tell you, okay, if your period is due by X day, then we need to do the blood test by X day. Or when the period comes 5 days after, I'm just saying it off my head, 5 days after the period, we need to do your hormone so that we will see what the levels are. So if normally your levels are supposed to be, I'm just calling a figure off my head, if your level is supposed to be 20, 5 days after the period, when the test result comes back and he looks at the level, probably it may not be 20, it may be 50, it may be 10, it may be less, and that will give an indication as well. However, You also have to take it in terms of what the woman is experiencing at that time. So if her life is stressful, it may not be menopause. It could be stress that affecting her body. So not because you're 40, not because you're 42, and you have the changes in the period, and you do the bloods, and the blood levels are low, the blood levels are high, it does not necessarily mean menopause. You have to take your whole life and what is happening in your life in its entirety.
Right, because stress could really throw off your body.
Yes.
Now, for someone going through menopause, a woman going through menopause or perimenopause, what are some of the things that can be done to cope?
Right. Yes.
Because a lot of people say they're going crazy.
A lot of things. The most important thing is to recognize it, that's the most, once you recognize it, then you have an idea as to, okay, so it's menopause, right? So, your head would be in a better place. And some of the things that you need to do, like if it's affecting your sleep, you need to avoid caffeine, especially in the afternoon. If you're accustomed having 3 cups of coffee for the day, you may have to cut it down and have it very early in the morning. Look at the amount of alcohol that you use and the time that you're consuming alcohol. You may need to adjust that. If you're accustomed having your wine, it may be, the wine may be excellent on an evening, as well as for some persons, they may not be able to tolerate it. There's something called sleep hygiene, that we can look at. There's a number of things with sleep hygiene that you can do to improve your sleep. For instance, you have a bath just before you go to bed, you turn off your television, you read, things that calm you down, things that bring you down to settle for the evening, things that increase calmness and soothing music and so on. Chamomile tea, you need to reduce your stress. And if it's really, really bad, you could try like over-the-counter sleep aids. That's for your sleep. For the hot flashes, dress in cool clothes. Layer your clothes. So you're going to work, you can wear the sleeveless dress and you put on a cardigan or something, or you put on, a jacket over it, so that when the hot flashes come, you can take off the jacket and be in your sleeveless dress. If you have not purchased an air conditioner for your bedroom as yet, now is a good time to invest in one so that you'll be able to sleep properly. Increase your water intake, because the excess sweating can make you dehydrated. So increase your water intake and plan your day. I think this is one of the most important things that reduces stress and reduces the sort of craziness that happens at this time. You know what your day would look like. Make allowances for the little things that come up in between. Deep breathing exercises. Start to read. If you have not started reading, start reading. Start painting. There are so many places in Tobago now, so many persons who teach art, and they can teach you art, and you do it in a relaxing time. Start dancing. There are dance studios I've observed in Tobago that are opening. Start dancing, writing. That might be an excellent way as well. Your Kegels exercises. If you're having problems with the incontinence, your diet, you need to look at your diet. In our health centers, especially Scarborough Health Centers, we have nutritionists that can sit with you and go through your entire diet and tell you, at this time, what is good to eat, what you need to cut down, daily exercises. Of course, you can use over-the-counter KY and other lubricants to enhance sex. Other treatments to consider: adding plant-based estrogen, like soya beans, lentils, chickpeas, legumes, flaxseed, and whole grains. These increase your estrogen production. Of course, the hormone replacement therapy if you really need it. You really, really need vitamin D and calcium supplements. With menopause, and as you get older, you need something that would help to strengthen your bones. There's something called melatonin. Now, melatonin is what regulates your sleep and wake pattern, is what tells your body as night is coming in, it tells your body to prepare for sleep. Sometimes menopause affects the melatonin production, and you may need a supplement. You can purchase that in the pharmacy, but you need to talk with your doctors, because it's not to be used for a long period of time. Change your body lotion, to help maintain moisture, body moisture. There are so many local persons producing good quality lotions with shea butter and all the different things in it that would help your body to retain the moisture. You need to add yogurt and probiotics to your diet. St. John Worts is good for the hot flashes, so is black cohosh, red clover, evening primrose, the donkai, the ginseng, honey goatweed. All of those will help with your insomnia, hot flashes, your mood swings, and the libido.
So before now, some of the things like the prescription, you go to your doctor. Is there a menopause unit within the primary healthcare system so that women can come in and say, well, okay, I need guidance in the same way that you're explaining this, and even in terms of knowing what to take, what to buy for your own specific case?
No, and this is such an excellent, I have never thought about it before, so it's probably something that we can do under women's health. We have just opened up men's health probably like about 2 to 3 years ago. Probably is something to consider, having for our women in Tobago. Some other things that I wanted to tell you as well. Sometimes magnesium helps with the hot flashes and the insomnia and the anxiety. And you need vitamin Bs to improve your digestion and to give you a little energy. I have read that lemon balm leaves improve your memory and promote calmness. And the Ayurvedic herbs might help to improve libido. But keep reading and keep researching and see, based on your symptoms, what can you do, to make life different and to improve your quality of life. Because I think this is what you want at this time. You want a good quality of life. Before, you didn't have to worry about all of that in your 20s, in your 30s. You were quite happy, So whatever you need to do as a woman to improve your quality of life for you, you need to do it for yourself.
Right. Now, how long does menopause typically last? From the perimenopause when you're starting to the end? Do we have information, particularly like what we see in Tobago, what women have been saying? How long is that process?
Sometimes it can last into the late 50s. Some women go through menopause quickly, within 2-3 years, and they're over with it. Some women, it takes longer, all 55, 56, 57. It depends on when you start, and it depends too on your family. If you look at how, you ask your mother, you ask your aunt, how was their time? You tend to have a better idea. You could better gauge how you may experience menopause. And it's not something that you could delay. It's not something that you could stop. It's not something that you could change. So you may as well just enjoy the process and do everything in your power to enjoy the process.
Right.
Some women are very happy with no period, very, very happy with no period. So they don't mind the hot flashes and the other things. they're just happy that the period has stopped.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth there. Now, before we go, I just want to go back quickly to hormone replacement therapy. For women who may need to undergo that or who have to consider that, what exactly happens when you do hormone replacement therapy?
Right. So hormone replacement therapy is usually given under the from your doctor. Your doctor would usually prescribe whatever medication for you, and it would depend on where you are on the spectrum of menopause. He would decide. So for somebody in their 30s or in the 40s, it would be in the form of medication, and depending on the hormone levels, your doctor will tell you what is good for you, what medication is best for you. I know there are studies that that gives negative things about the hormone replacement, you know, in terms of risk for blood clots and so on. But you and your doctor would weigh out the pros and cons of it and decide which is the best method, which is the best alternative, or if you really want to go on the hormone replacement therapy at all. So this is something that you need to discuss with your doctor. And as I said, it will become more important the earlier for menopause that has an earlier onset.
Right. So those people who are younger. That makes the women who are younger that will more apply to them. With respect to partners, particularly male partners of women going through menopause. Males
sometimes go through menopause as well, but we call it andropause.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that, about andropause. I did not know that.
Yes, males go through that at all. Males go through andropause as well, and we have the decline in estrogen and progesterone. They have a decline in testosterone. Right? It is not as rapid as the female, and some persons, they're well into the 60s and the 70s before they even notice that happening. And it can be reversed for men, for some men.
Ah, okay. But what are the symptoms like for those who may experience symptoms?
Right. So for the persons who may be going through, the male who go through andropause, as we call it, the symptoms of low testosterone, easy fatigue, weight gain, weakness, decrease in their libido, decrease in their self-confidence. You know, some men tell you, every morning I get up with my something. This morning I noticed all of last month, you know, it's only twice in the morning. You know, some men say that, and that too is a sign that alerts the wife that something is going on. And that could affect their confidence. It could affect the sex drive, the libido. It could cause anxiety. Men lose their hair. They lose lean body mass. For some men, they tell you that, you know, they find they're getting small. They exercise in the same way, they eat in the same way, but they just find they're getting smaller. The muscles not as bulky as before. Right? They lose bone density, and they're at risk for diabetes and cardiac disease because of the hormones. Some men develop infertility, well, because they have the loss in the sperm production. They can develop gynecomastia, which is the breast. The testes could decrease, and then they could lose body hair.
Okay, and does the hormone test apply to men as well? Like
they can, yes, they can. Some studies suggest that men lose testosterone 1% a year after age 30. So it can start as early as age 30 for men. But the most important thing would be the sex drive, the confidence, and what we call them morning accompaniments.
Right.
That's the word that we use for them.
Okay.
That's the same thing, you know, as us, just in a less a lesser degree to us. I think menopause is a faster decline than andropause in men.
Oh, okay, right. No, wow, that's you live, you learn, you live, you learn. Because I did not know that at all. In terms of, I know you mentioned earlier using like the lubrication and so on, because in both cases for men and women, menopause and andropause, you talk about the loss of the libido. For a lot of people, sex is a basic need. You know, if you could really go crazy if you don't have sex. What are the ways to kind of deal with that? Because for some people, I've heard you may try, let's say like the KY, as you said before, but it doesn't, while it actually is there as a lubricant, it doesn't necessarily provide you with what I think the feeling is different based on how I've heard it being explained.
Yes. So this is a time, I think, for the couple to explore other things and explore. I mean, there are so many things on the market now where you wouldn't believe, you're not looking for it, so you wouldn't see it. But if you're really looking for it, and in Trinidad and Tobago, in Tobago as well, there are so many products being sold now on the market that people don't even bother with KY. Again, it have warming gel, it have sensual gel. There are so many different things that you could use, but couples need to sit and have a conversation. You know, this is what is happening to me. Husbands may not understand, you know, that is menopause. He may not understand that menopause is causing it, why, you know, you're lost in libido, or wives may not understand why the husband have lost his libido. Sometimes you think it's somebody on the outside, but it affects men's psyche. It affects the whole, it sort of throws off the whole balance. So we need to explore different things. We need to be creative, you know, in terms of positioning, in terms of timing, in terms of what we are accustomed doing. Sometimes, you know, the act itself may have to be longer to really get the same pleasure that you will get normally.
Okay, right. So
Yes.
Okay.
So the foreplay may have to be more, the laughing, the smiling, the giggling, the cuddling, everything would have to be different with menopause and with andropause. And there are sex therapists in Tobago that you can consult. There are, I don't know if you have pastors who are open to that discussions. I don't know any, but there are some persons who are open to that discussions. And sometimes, you know, if you have a conversation with your health professional, they may be able to guide you, because we do have drug rep coming to us and offering the products. So we can tell you, you know, what to look for, what to buy, you know, and where you can get it. And, you know, you just think differently. You know, when you're younger, you plan for your date. You're wearing this, you're putting on this, you have this shoe set aside, you have this, you have that, you have that. Same too as you get older. You take the same time, you know, to prepare yourself. As I say, self-care becomes so much more important as you're getting older because of all these changes.
Yeah, I don't know, we really need to do more sensitization, more public awareness around this, because when you're younger, you know, you come up as a teen, you go up in your 20s, well, your teenage life, that seems to last forever. You get to 20s, you have a good time, then you get to 30s and realize, whoa, this time going fast. And it just seems to be going faster and faster. But by the time you get, you know, into 30s, 40s, if you didn't have somebody who spoke openly about this with you, many of us don't hear the information, you don't get the information. And that's why we end up so lost as the adult, you know, you're trying to find your way, and nobody else could really even give you information because everything kind of, you know, haphazard. So it'd be really good to have structured sessions in the public health system, you know, to make people aware.
Even with us, we talk diabetes, hypertension, HIV, cancer. We talk all these hard topics, but the softer topics that make us human and improve our interaction, improve family life. We don't discuss that. We really don't discuss that at all.
No, yeah, and there's unfortunately there's shame, embarrassment. There people are fearful to speak up openly. I mean, as you said, it even happens between intimate partners, husband and wife, you know, long-term committed partners. They're afraid, but the time has run out. I really appreciate this. Before we go, other than I want you to specifically perhaps speak to husbands, male partners out there, because as you said, the menopause can be a little more dramatic than the andropause, and sometimes the woman simply may not even know what's happening until well after the fact. So as opposed to the usual, that's that time of the month for she or she, you know, she must be going through menopause, you know, the jokes that people can make. What can male partners do, husbands and committed boyfriends, etc., or even some female partners who perhaps have not been through menopause yet, because we do have quite a number of people who are in same-sex relationships. But if your female partner is going through menopause or perimenopause, what can you do as the person not experiencing it to support them?
So we really need to be supportive. We really need to understand, you know, like my husband says now, you know, he said, I could now understand why you were so short-tempered before. I too didn't realize, you know, that I was starting to go through menopause. And it's when he said that to me and I went back, I realized that, you know, for some years ago, well, when I did not realize I was going through that, so husbands need to understand menopause, and they need to understand the changes and expect. You need to expect the unexpected. You need to expect the mood changes. You need to expect the sweating. You need to expect the reduction in libido. That is a time for you to be more caring. That is a time to be more comforting. That is a time to be more loving, to be more supportive. That is a time for you to say, you know, let us eat healthy, let us exercise. So, you know, you tell the wife, let us get up on a morning and do 15 minutes, 20 minutes of exercises. You know, you tell her she looks beautiful. Tell her, you know what, I will pay for you to go to the hairdresser to do whatever, do something nice with your hair. You know, sometimes the hair thinning and the husband still want the long hair. You know, sometimes you just need to change a little bit to accommodate the try, whatever. Tell her you look beautiful. You know, you need to really be supportive as a partner. You need to be supportive in terms of supporting in the homes, because the woman, she really don't have the energy on some days that she accustomed. You know, some of us, you could clean the house in one day. Usually when menopause starts, when you're full into menopause, you don't have that energy. So sometimes the husband needs to say, all right, I will take the washroom and I will take this room, and okay, you handle the kitchen and you handle the living room. You know, things like that really makes women feel appreciated, really makes women feel loved and secure and supported in the home, right? But men need to understand that there's nothing that we could do to stop the changes. We can just make the symptoms easier. And whatever you need to do or whatever you can do to help, you need to step in and do your part.
All right, that's a very good way to end it there. Thank you very much, Ms. Katian. Yeah, Katia and Greenidge Ottley. We've had this conversation basically as usual. When you listen to this podcast episode, you hopefully get some enlightenment, learn something, get some positive inspiration, whatever it is. We hope that after you've listened to the podcast episode, you will be able to handle your business.
Handle Your Business, a weekly podcast discussing a little of this and a little of that. Handle Your Business appropriately blends serious topics with fun topics, all in an effort to help you have a good or better life. So join me, your host, Lady Lashley, and some amazing guests every Sunday at 5 p.m. to explore everything from financial management to dealing with relationship challenges. Put it in your calendar every Sunday from 5 p.m. Tune in to Handle Your Business to get you ready for the week ahead. For more details, follow at Lady Lashley TT on Instagram and Facebook. Handle Your Business.